One shot, now the future is yours. Go!
I started my business off 25 grand in debt, no income. Ended up delivering pizzas to keep my business afloat. I was 31, I felt like a piece of shit. That was 14 years ago. But what I should have been doing is patting myself on the back. That is your most important asset that you have right now, is time, and it's the one that we give up so freely. Where's the GPS for your life? What do you want? You need to start believing in yourself.
Turning dreams into reality. In the lab with the formula in chemistry. The memories spark to motivate and make the industry shake. We put the bars in the brakes across the one.
Now what? That's what I'm saying to you. Now what? For you, for your life. Because your success or failure will be defined by your decisions, your good ones and bad ones. And it all starts with that belief. True belief in yourself.
It's one shot, now the future is yours.
Thank you! There. Let's go again. That was explosive, wasn't it? So my name's Brad Burton. This is the Be Kind or Don't campaign. So that showreel is amazing. And I look at my journey that I've been on, not only throughout my life, but also through my easy for me to say, professional career. And I'm going to be joined today as part of this Be Kind or Don't campaign with somebody who helped me in those early days of my pre-showbiz days. And she actually knew me before I was this Brad Burton. It is, without fail, this lady, boys and girls, Emma Britton, the Uber celebrant. Emma, how are you doing, kiddo? You are on mute. You're not on mute anymore. You're good.
Hey, Brad, that showreel gives me goosebumps. It makes me tingle. It's phenomenal. And to have watched you grow over the years since I first met you all those years ago, I'm just so utterly proud to know you.
Well, you know, you're a local lady to me. We're over in Somerset. And actually, I met you back in 2006 when phone networking first began. You was at the Exchange in Bridgewater. In fact, I have a photograph of you at the Exchange in Bridgewater, which is where phone networking group one, happened. And you run your own business then. What was that, Em?
Yeah, back then I was running my own business as a fat fitness instructor, which was a bit unusual at the time, but I was encouraging people of all shapes and sizes to be fit. And I did my 40 seconds whilst lying on the floor doing sit-ups. Yeah.
I remember 15 years on.
It was unbelievable. But my career in fitness led to me appearing on the local radio station. And to cut a long story short, I became a regular guest, a regular contributor. I ended up getting a job at the BBC and then led to a 13-year career in broadcasting, including presenting breakfast shows on BBC Local Radio, the flagship show of 2 stations.
Wild. Now, what people won't know is that you actually did my first ever radio interview ever. And I remember it. It's funny, I can vividly remember it. You know, there's certain things that I can't remember. I can't remember what I had to eat earlier. But I can remember this because I was so fearful I couldn't look at you whilst I was speaking, just in case you stole my soul. Do you remember?
And you spoke so fast. You spoke so fast. You'd like, but you were always a thrill to interview because you have so much to give and to say, and people can learn from what you had to say. So to then see you go from being interviewed by little old me to appearing on Sky and the news channel and all stuff like that, I was always really impressed.
It's not so as part of this whole Be Kind or Don't campaign, you saw what happened last week, which is me finally got to the break point. And everyone's got a break point. Everyone's got a break point in life where you kind of need to do something different. Otherwise, you're going to do something different. And for what I did last week and how I handled it, some people said, well, I don't agree with how you handled it. You saw 7 days of me firing back, giving that exact energy that I've been receiving on the receiving end for 18 months. Like somebody passed a message on to me today. My chairman's actually downstairs. He just having a chat with Kerry about something. But he passed on a message that somebody said they was worried about me last week. Now, those individuals wouldn't have been worried about me for the last 17 months and 3 weeks because they didn't know what was going on. So this is the bit about this whole Be Kind. Now, you, let's be quite clear, massive personality on the Southwest scene. over at BBC Radio Bristol with your show, massive personality. And there is a link that I found online, which is basically you stepping away from the BBC after 5 years at BBC Bristol. I think it's fair to say, I've got goosebumps, by the way. But look at that, I've got goosebumps, by the way. Genuinely got goosebumps then, right? I think it's fair to say that something was unsaid throughout that. It was quite clear to me that of that 2 minutes vignette, there was a 15-second kind of nod that actually I think deserves to be explored. Be kind or don't. What's your experience?
So I chose to leave the BBC. I chose to leave my broadcasting career after 13 years for a variety of reasons.
Yeah.
But probably the biggest thing I struggled with is being in the public eye. Now, let's be really frank here. Low-level public eye. I'm not Ariana Grande, you know. This is like known in Somerset, known in Bristol. That's about it. But when you're in the public eye, it seems to attract an increasing level of negativity. And I just found over the years and years and years that it more and more harder to deal with. I'm a good person, you know. I believe in, you know, if you can't say something nice, don't say anything at all. If I want to complain about a business, a product or a service, I will go straight to the company before I shout about it on social media. I will give them the opportunity to address the issue before I potentially ruin their reputation. So as a BBC local radio presenter, I was on a daily basis subjected to negativity, criticism about me personally, criticism about how I did my job, offensive comments, you know, I'm so glad you stayed in this weekend, you would have frightened my children with your face. When I hear Emma Britton on the radio, I want to crash my car on the M5. And this is not just social media. Once a gentleman wrote an email to the radio station that says, as a fat woman, I was not an appropriate role model to be a broadcaster and I should be removed. That story made the national papers. Now, these are low-level things, really, that I wouldn't describe them as bullying, but I would describe them as a constant chip away at your confidence, a constant chip away about your belief from other people. Now, why do they do it? Are they jealous? Are they just horrible people? Do they not realize the impact of what they're saying? And so I started to challenge people. If it was appropriate, if I felt it was appropriate, if I could make contact with them, I would make contact with them and challenge them. And I've had people back down, mortified. A bloke texted my show once and said, "Oh, I can't stand her voice. She's dreadful. She talks so slowly. Oh, it made me, oh." So I rang him. I said, "Hello, is that," well, let's use the name Bob. And he went, I said, "This is Emma from the radio." "Oh, oh, I'm really sorry. I got out of bed the wrong side this morning and sent you that text." "No, Bob, what you did is you were unnecessarily nasty and you affected me with your actions." So that's why I started to challenge. However, I was always told by my friends, family, colleagues, and my employers to ignore, to rise above. Don't challenge them. Don't give them any energy.
Wow. And goosebumps. Absolute hairs on the end of my arms. Genuinely, I don't think people realise how real this is, right? I consider myself to be a big, tough, alpha male bloke. I have had a nervous breakdown. Back in 2013, it's documented. I'm not just making it up. It's in there. I say I had a nervous breakdown. 2.5 years to get back to normal.
Your books are on my shelf.
Oh, good. Right. Have you got a rare unsigned copy there, Emma? You know,
probably.
Trust me, it'll be signed. You know, so 2013, I had a nervous breakdown. Last year, I had a burnout. We have come off, without question, the most difficult 12 months that this nation, in my lifetime, I've had some, my 2013 was more terrible than last year, if I'm honest. However, as a nation, and I believe that what happens is, ordinarily, if you're having a bad day, you'll go to your friends for support and they'll prop you up. But if they're also having a bad day, you don't want to, because of COVID or lockdown, you don't want to go to those individuals and they don't want to go to you. So we've ended up being in this bunker mentality. And I believe that what's happened with this whole social media thing is people believe they wouldn't say that to your face. You imagine being in front of people at a business show and somebody is saying these things that have been said about me in real time, loud. Like, Brad Burton's this, that, and the other, is an all good piece of it. They wouldn't do it in real life. But somewhere along the way, it's almost like it's a computer game where you can just say anything with impunity. And people have said to me, just rise above it. I've tried rising above it for 18 months, and all it's managed to achieve is more and more people believe that it's fun. It's a free-for-all to be able to sort of give you a good kicking. When people say rise above it, it's a bit like having a pint pot full of water. There comes a point that any more water that goes in that is going to spill, and you're going to get increasingly flustered as a result of it. I reached my break point last week, and I didn't do anything stupid, ironically, but could have. Some lesser people, or not lesser people, that's wrong. But you see what I'm saying? Someone emotionally not as robust as me may well have. I don't know. I've had a nervous breakdown, so that's a tick on that one. So 2.5 years to get back normally. I've had a burnout, tick on that one. I don't know where the break point is or the escalation, but what I do know, there comes a point when you can have an opinion on somebody. You don't like Emma as a voice, or you don't like me because I'm Mancunian, or I've got tattoos, or I swear too much. That's fine. You're entitled to that opinion. What you're not entitled to do is chase me and my colleagues and my friends and my team around the internet, telling everyone that. But it starts here, and I'm sure that you might have encountered it. It starts here, don't like a voice, and then it starts moving on to other stuff.
Yeah, I experienced a little bit of that, not nowhere near to the level that you have, Brad. With I class the difference between true internet trolls, the kind of people that probably live hundreds of miles away from you, that just go looking for trouble, versus people who actually do live in the area you work and broadcast in. And there was somebody in particular who took a real dislike to me massively, and they would regularly tweet just really unpleasant things. And some of my friends and contacts tried to intervene, and they would just push back at them as well. They just, for some reason, took against me. And I just ignored. And in fact, I muted them on Twitter, because when I worked for the BBC, I felt I couldn't block, because, people see you as, public property, and they pay for you through the license fee. If I had £1 for every time someone said, I pay for you, I pay the license fee as well. But that drip effect, as someone's just said, it really does undermine you as a person. I like to think I'm a good human being. Life is too short to be subjected to this. Somebody once said to me, but you're a broadcaster, you're in the media. It goes with the territory. No, it blimmin' doesn't. Of course it doesn't. And it shouldn't. And when I look at some of the high profile media personalities like Laura Kuenssberg and people like that, the level of abuse that they receive, I do not know how they cope, because that would have broken me a long time ago.
We look at this whole thing, be kind or don't. Caroline Flack, we all know what happened there, right? And up until that point, for anyone who was online giving a stick, it was all fun and games. It's all fun and games until it stops becoming all fun and games. Honestly, this is what I don't think that people understand. The situation that I went through, right? At no point, I'm going to mention it, trigger warning, blah, blah, blah. What did people do before anyone even came up with the concept trigger warning? But if I'd committed suicide, and at no point have I ever considered that or whatever, right? But if I'd committed suicide, can you imagine the next day? Everyone would be deleting those posts. Everyone would be saying, I didn't mean it. What I meant to do is I just wanted to let him know that he didn't. That's what would happen. Now, fortunately, that never happened. But what did happen is I shown the world what was going on. I shown the world what I was copying for on a daily basis. And actually, people didn't like it. People felt it was a bit strong. Try being me.
It made them feel uncomfortable, Brad, because it made them feel uncomfortable about themselves.
Well, it made me feel uncomfortable doing it, but I had no option. And it just gets worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. Emma, we just move it on to what you're currently doing, because you your career, you walked away from the height of Southwest. You couldn't have got any bigger in the Southwest. And you started doing something else. What are you doing now? What have you gone through?
So, from about 2016 onwards, I started to feel a little uncomfortable in my work. And I'm going to use the B word here and say Brexit. It wasn't the concept of Brexit, but what I found Brexit did is it caused huge division in society. And it almost opened Pandora's box. So everyone was sharing their opinion. Then it became very personal and bitchy and horrible. And then that just doesn't seem to have gone away. Society has become divisive, even more so than ever before. So I really wasn't enjoying my time you know, as a broadcaster. So I started to think about what I'd like to do. And the things I love about my broadcasting job, meeting people, interviewing them, writing about them, delivering those words. So at the end of 2019, I trained as a civil celebrant to write and create and deliver ceremonies, funerals, weddings, renewal of vows, Mrs. Burton, if you're listening, baby namings.
Just tell me, what's the process behind it? You know, let me tell you a story, right? And you can continue in a second. We was over in Las Vegas. We intended to go and get whatever it was, a really tacky Elvis, blah, 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 drive through. And we argued 5 minutes before we did it, and we didn't go. But actually, we said we were going to do that. Sorry, anyway, what's the process behind what you do?
So, and a celebrant, what a celebrant does are all those things I loved about my old job. And I recently hosted a podcast for BBC Sounds called The Happiness Half Hour. It's all based on the science of happiness. It's come from the University of Bristol. Professor Bruce Hood, who is a specialist in this field, we did a 10-part podcast series on the actual science, proven evidence about what does and doesn't make you happy. There's a point to this story. One of the episodes was all about playing to your character strengths. There's a survey you can take on the internet that assesses your character profile and tells you what your signature strengths are, what you are best at, what really fulfills you in life. My signature strength was kindness. Now, having a signature strength of kindness and working in the media, I'm really sorry, those two didn't fit. But being a celebrant, supporting people, being there at some of the most important moments of their lives, it fitted. And since I've been working as a celebrant, I have received so much joy and reward from my life, and also from my personal life. I sleep better, my blood pressure has lowered, I'm less anxious, life is better for me. Now, just because you're good at something, and I was good at the radio, so I was told, doesn't mean it's good for you. And it wasn't good for me. So I made that difficult decision to move on. And on the day I left, that 2-minute video that you mentioned earlier, when I gave my leaving speech on the last day that I broadcast on the radio, I tried to gently but graciously say to people, you know, you just do not know what the impact of your words are. Please try to be kind. Whether they will, I don't know. But, you know, I'm in a different era now.
Well, I'm quite looking forward to when I adjust it, quite frankly, because you can look after me. You have been booked. I'm serious. Pippa, by the way. Pippa is a Bridgewater girl. We were just talking off camera about you, Pippa. And let me tell you, honestly, I asked on a phone networking meeting, I said, who's the happiest person you know? And of the 25 people that were on the meeting, 12 said Pippa. Like, she's genuinely, that lady has so much joy. You go to B&M's in Bridgewater, they've got Space Raiders on discount, 6 packets, 99 pence. She's like, oh my gosh, it's like she's won the lottery. It's childlike in her approach to life. You two must 100% meet, like, I promise you. Have a sit down and you'll see true joy with everything. Emma, what would you say to anyone that's, one, copying for this, and two, anyone that is perhaps delivering this as well? You know, I've got some thoughts. Let me hear yours first, please.
So I believe in challenging people politely and constructively. And if you challenge them once, but the response you get is still like, you know, a brick wall, then pull out. It will be a lost cause. And don't be afraid to mute, report and block. Okay, you don't need to have those people in your space, in your mind, in your life. And just as a personal thing, you know, that this isn't about, you know, being happy clappy and isn't rose tinted glasses, life is wonderful. This is about living the best life you can live, because, you know, in my industry, Brad, you know, the whole fragility of life is very apparent on a daily basis. So, you know, be the best person you can be. And there's this great acronym, I sent it to you just now, called THINK. So T, if you're going to speak or post something, T, is it true? H, is it helpful? I, is it inspiring? N, is it necessary? And K, is it kind? True, helpful, inspiring, necessary, kind. We all, as a society, need to just think better about ourselves and those around us. We need to act in a better way. This is a collective thing, but I do truly believe we should also challenge those behaviours that have been causing so many people so much heartache.
You know, it's been interesting in that some people have tried to have that conversation with these individuals, and what they've ended up doing is being on the receiving end of that. Now, they can't attack everyone. And I think that's the problem. It kind of needs to stand up at some point. I honestly, at my time of life, do not want to be getting my 6 shooters out, metaphorically speaking, by the way, police officers. Do you see what I'm saying? But I don't want to be that guy. I don't want to be the guy that I might have been 20 years ago. I want to be the guy that I am now, which is a family man, 48-year-old who doesn't want this, and a businessman who's actually, you talk about your motivation or whatever fires you up, and yours was being kind. Mine is about making a positive difference. And first and foremost, I owe it to my tribe, to those thousands of phone networking members, my team, like Al, Pippa and Jen and Terry and Joe and all the team, to not allow people to push our team around. And we have done this in a fair manner. Yeah. We've done it in a conciliatory manner. But there comes a point when enough is enough. And I believe that we've reached that point there. Emma, before we go, any final words, kiddo?
I just think, remember, the minority always shout louder, and you can allow that to overwhelm yourself, because I do want to say my time as a broadcaster, they were the minority, but for me, they overwhelmed me. And so I took personal responsibility to make a change to my life to do that. And I had an amazing career in the BBC. Don't get me wrong. I loved pretty much every minute of it. So the minority do shout loud, so we must be careful not to be overwhelmed by them. We also must be mindful that social media has allowed people who are vulnerable and possibly unstable to have a public voice. So, we need to take that into consideration as well. But it shouldn't go with the territory, it shouldn't be like that. And that's why be kind or don't. And people like yourself, Brad, we just need to keep speaking up for moving in a positive way, for moving forward, and for, not tolerating either low level or high level bullying, in your case, just low level negativity in mine. We shouldn't tolerate it as a society.
Goosebumps again, right? I mean, seriously, you can tell why you look at that. Goosebumps as a broadcaster. My gosh, goodness gracious.
Oh.
Listen, what's lovely here? What's absolutely lovely here is from my perspective. Certainly in the last week, I felt like I was a lone voice throughout this, and at times, and it got really tough at times. And I described it to a friend of mine. I said it's a bit like you don't invite your mum to your heavyweight boxing match, right? Because no good's going to come out of that. Even if you win or you lose, you're getting bruised. And it was quite bruising last week. But I think it's lovely to see people like yourself come forward here to support us on this Be Kind or Don't campaign. And it just gives us strength. And, the best way that we can do it, look, as a celebrant, you recognise the fragility of life, that actually what we do on the time that we've got here, which is a blink of an eye, is to make a positive difference. So Thank you so much, genuinely. And can we just ask, where can people find you? And I'll put it up on the screen.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm on Instagram and Twitter at celebrant_Emma, and on Facebook at Emma the Celebrant UK. And I've got my mainstream socials as well at the Emma Britton. And I'd love to hear from people. A lot of people don't know what a celebrant does, so I'm happy to chat that through and help explain. Celebrant means you have choice, when it comes to the most important moments of your life. It can be as personal as you want it to be, and I would love to do that for you. So
wonderful. All right, Emma, see you in a bit, kiddo.
Thanks, Brad.
She's out of here. Woo, how good was that? And how good's this? Yeah, we ain't blessing about. Everything's good. Listen, boys and girls, thank you so much for tuning in. That was the first of many guests that we've got lined up here. Just to give you a different view, this is not a Brad Burton is an idiot problem. This is, this is a wider issue than just me. And actually, the more that we can do to share that wider issue with a wider audience, and it gives people strength, emboldens them to say, you know what, enough is enough. Until next time, boys and girls, be kind or don't. One shot, now the future is yours. Go! I started my business off 25 grand in debt, no income. Ended up delivering pizzas to keep the business afloat. I was 31, I felt like a piece of shit. That was 14 years ago. But what I should have been doing is patting myself on the back. That is your most important asset that you have right now, is time, and it's the one that we give up so freely. Where's the GPS for your life? What do you want? You need to start believing in yourself. I'm turning dreams
dreams into reality. In the lab with the formula and chemistry. Your memories spark to motivate and make the industry shake. You put the bars in the place. I'm talking one.
Now what? That's what I'm saying to you. Now what? For you, for your life. Because your success or failure will be defined by your decisions, your good ones and bad ones. And it all starts with that belief. True belief in yourself.
It's one shot, not a future.
Thank you!